was gonna do is have us all talk about unreasonable things like I was talking to you yesterday about, and just
Mm.
talk about unreasonable. Like I'm so grateful to have this show. And this is
Is
a
that unreasonable?
uh yeah, because the show hasn't started yet.
Right. It kind of has.
Well, okay, hello
We're in,
people. Hello people in wherever you are. This is the Pork and Bean Show with Arla Colette Williams and Gina Speltzeter. How close is that?
it's
Speltzeter.
close enough. It's close
No,
enough.
no, you gotta pronounce it. 'Cause I'm sure everyone in the world has trouble with your name.
Yeah, yeah. It's Splettstaser. It's very German, as I'm sure you could guess. Let.
Speltzeter.
Mm-hmm.
He just said it with a southern accent is all.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
it. It's fine. It's
I've been trying
fine.
to say it a few times in my mind.
Let's Caesar.
Anyway, I got the
Mm-hmm.
so all it looks like Speltetster.
Mm-hmm. You got it. 100%. I've thought about changing my name before, but I was like, no. It's so memorable. People really it sticks out. So,
Yeah.
It does. It's not,
yeah.
no, an average name here in the United States.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I've Googled my last name before, and the only people that come up are my family. So that's pretty
Really? So
interesting.
that's very cool. Yeah.
Mm.
That is.
So you had Arla on the show like 5 or 6 months ago or something like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I was watching the Flash of Beauty documentaries, and I saw the outtake with Arla, and I thought she was just wonderful. I thought she had great stories. I loved her energy. She just seemed super bright, and yeah. So I just reached out to her, and she was like, "Heck yeah, I'll do it." So we had a good conversation. It was fun.
I love good conversation with anybody, actually. So it's good.
Yeah.
I called you to set up the show yesterday, and we almost talked for an hour, didn't we? Something like that.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, we had a
Yeah.
long conversation. It was fun.
I'm well pleased at Arla's choice of guests. You're the amazing.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that.
What's Arla doing?
I
Arla,
don't
What am I
know.
are you
what
fit?
am I doing?
Yeah. The show is live now, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you doing a Sudoku puzzle down there?
What am I?
No, you're looking down, and I thought you're supposed to be talking.
Well, I was gonna send you something, and sometimes it takes me longer, and I have to, because I was gonna share it and screen share it, but I can't.
Oh, so you want me to screen share it?
I was gonna send it to you, and I have to put my head down to be able to read, and then
Okay, now we got the full story. Well,
okay.
should I go back to Facebook
Should you go
and look
back to
for it?
it? It's on your messenger.
Okay, I'll look over here. That Facebook's running slow too. I don't know what the deal is. Arla, you got a little blue sign. Oh, look at that.
That is the cover of my new children's book.
Really?
Oh,
Yes,
awesome.
I'm just tweaking the book now. I've got all the illustrations,
Wow. That's
and
cool. I like that.
we have baby girl from behind. She got a flower in her hair,
That's
and
baby
Mm.
that's
girl.
Weirta, the dog man girl, who is
Mm.
actually here, and that is Aaron. He is a dragon boy.
A dragon boy. Like a baby
And
dragon?
yes, he's young, like
Okay.
uh, baby girl and Weirta. They're just kids.
Oh.
And the book is called New Friends. And what it will be about was we really don't have differences. We may look different, but we're still all the same. And we can be respectful to each other, and we can even be really good friends with someone who doesn't look like us. So they find each other and become friends. And so that's what this is about. It's about
Oh,
accepting others that maybe don't look like us, don't talk like us. So I'm really excited about it. Natalie she is the illustrator. She's done some wonderful stuff, but I would just like, I got to tell this today before we get started, because I have had the idea for this story and worked a little bit on it since 2014
Whoa.
oh
and
wow.
could not find an illustrator.
Hmm.
I had people who said, "Oh, yeah, I'd like to illustrate that." Well, nothing. Many. And it just so happened that Natalie had seen me on some YouTube deals, and she did see Flash of Beauty. And Indigo just grabbed her heart. And so she had messaged me, became friends on Facebook. And so we talked, and she said one day, "I have something to send you." And I said, "Oh, okay." Well, she's in Ireland right now. And I think she talked to you, Michael. I think you two talked. She's Australian, but she's in Ireland now. I know she was going to send you a friend request.
What's her name again?
Natalie.
Do you know her last name?
Yeah, but I can't remember it. It's, oh my gosh, I know it as good as my own. I'm having a
It doesn't matter.
lot of
I don't recall her name, so it's okay. It's a
Nat. Nat is what's on her deal. And you actually answered her when she was watching when we had Sam on, and you said "sir" to her, and she was like, "I'm not a sir," but
okay.
she doesn't have a profile photo.
Okay.
So you can't Shepherd. I don't know why I couldn't remember Shepherd.
Nat
Uh,
Shepherd. Now I remember Nat
yeah,
Shepherd, but I'm because I'm thinking of him as a guy.
yeah.
I'm still thinking of him as a guy. Sorry, Nat.
Oh, she's beautiful. She's very beautiful. But anyway, she got Indigo just grabbed her. The stories I would tell about Indigo. And so she, told me, "I have something to send you." Uh, so she said, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but when you get it, I want to know. So when I got it, and I have that photo, I don't have it where I can get to it right now. Actually, I have that painting, and it was of Indigo. And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And so we talked about it. And I said, "If you ever decide that you would want to do illustrations, because this is perfect for what I'm looking for, please let me know." And I said, "It's no rush." I said, think about it, whatever." And she got back to me and she said, "Yes, I want to do it." And she has sent me, I now have 20 of her paintings. And gosh, the artwork is just wonderful. She's in transition now of finding something to do for her livelihood. And now she's going to pursue art. and doing things like this. So Indigo was instrumental in putting us together, which I thought was kind of cool. And in this book, he doesn't factor into it much, other than he is one of baby girl's big brothers who wants to go off and play on their own. They don't want to have to watch their little sister. So, but baby girl and these other two are the important ones. And you'll get to meet their families in the book too. So, yeah, I'm excited. Okay, I'm done.
I'm excited too. I want to read it.
So, Miss Gina.
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Good. And I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed talking with you so much. And Michael said he had. So, gosh, just whatever you want to share with us today. You're new to Facebook, am I right?
I am. I'm actually kind of new to social media in general, so I'm still navigating through all of that, and it's mainly for the channel, promoting the channel
Mm-hmm.
and which connects in with my healing practice. So yeah, a lot of it's like learning how to promote myself and learning how to use this format because it's very strange and I don't
It's
I don't
pretty,
have a lot of
pretty simple
experience.
in the long run if you'll figure it all out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I will. It's just um yeah, I'm kind of breaking through some belief systems in regards to like social media and using computers and all that and technology, just getting more comfortable. So I spent a long time kind of resisting using technology, and so now I'm getting into it, and it's fun, but I have to learn how to balance it because it can be a little, you can get sucked into it. So, or at least I in my experience, I've found that I
Well,
can.
you do, and you will learn, that there are times that you just need to walk away from it for a little bit, and
Yeah.
and we ourselves are the ones that makes this what it is.
Mm.
It's not Facebook, it's not YouTube, it's not any other social media. We are the ones who are in control of what we make this for us.
That's true. And you guys have from what I hear anyway, you have a pretty good community going. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what that's all about.
Yeah.
So.
Why don't you tell our listeners um, about your a little bit of your history, how it led you up to being this great flowering lotus above your head of shining light, and this,
Yeah.
you
Um,
can hear them, like you hear the angels singing.
Sure. Well, I mean, I guess it starts like with most people in childhood where you have imaginary friends and you have, well, for me anyway, it started when I was about 2 or 3. I had friends that would come and visit me at night and teach me how to fly around the house and go out into the yard and fly around and have fun while my parents were sleeping. And like I would look in at them, while they were sleeping in bed. And I didn't realize I was in my astral body at the time, obviously. But I had one friend in particular who looked very similar to ET, which is weird because when this was happening, it was years before the movie even came out. So that was interesting. And so that was about 2 or 3, and then had some family, like the parents separate, had some trauma associated with that. And a lot of my intuitive gifts kind of just shut down, as they will when you have traumatic experiences as a child. So, but I always had a super strong interest in ghosts, in ley lines for some reason. Um, in like the Loch Ness Monster, in Bigfoot, obviously. And I, yeah, I feel like I was kind of a weird kid. I really stood out. And I was really into books, and I would read like the Time Life series, paranormal books from the library. And I was kind of a little loner. And then time goes by, and fast forward to about, I would say 40, and I was in a dead end job I didn't like. I had migraines, chronic migraines. I felt like my body was like kind of shutting down. And I was on all of these medications trying to get rid of these migraines. And I just, yeah, obviously it was my body trying to tell me, change your life, but I didn't really understand. And so finally I had this thought popped into my mind, like maybe I should go see a Reiki person. I don't even know what Reiki is, but maybe I'll check it out. So I found somebody, and we started working together. And through the course of working with this woman, I was able to kind of turn on my light body, and my chakras and everything kind of turned on. And I started seeing stuff and hearing stuff and feeling energy. And yeah, kind of just progressed from there. I moved to Detroit and went up to the Upper Peninsula by Lake Superior for vacation, and I saw my first light ship go over Lake Superior, and it just totally blew my mind. I was like, "What the heck am I even looking at? What is this?" And yeah, after that, I came back to Detroit and started seeing all these light ships in my backyard. I saw triangles, I saw like big orange lantern looking shapes, and just it was very confusing. It was a very confusing time. And that was about, I would say 2020, when everybody was inside anyway. So I just had so much time on my hands. So I was meditating and seeing all of these ships, and having all these crazy experiences with my light body. My chakras would like kind of turn on, and like I said, it was very confusing. So I eventually got a mentor with this woman. Her name's Aisha Love, and we did a 6-month mentorship. And during the course of working with her, learning more about my energy and how to manage it, I found out I have a strong connection to the Sasquatch people. And it was kind of like, it was kind of like logically, okay, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I don't really know what that means, but, and then one night while working with her, like on a weekly basis, I was asleep in my room, and I heard all of these huge, huge booming sounds coming from my roof. And it woke up the whole family. All the dogs were terrified for the entire day afterwards. They were hiding under the bed and just shaking. They were very scared. And I came outside in the morning to see if maybe a tree fell or something, because it was so loud that the bangs on the roof, you would have had to have seen part of a tree or, damage on the roof or something, but nothing. And I was just like, what the heck? What could that have been? So I emailed Aisha and I asked her, I was like, hey, this happened, and like we're all freaked out. What do you think that was? And she told me it was the Sasquatch people. And it just clicked. It was just like, oh, okay. I didn't think it would happen so physically. I thought it was, some sort of energetic connection, like, oh, to dragon energy or to unicorns or fairies or something, but it was very physical. And yeah, it kind of just progressed from there. I started seeing prints when I would go out in the woods. I have a couple of places that I go walking with my dogs out here. And it was funny because they were really small, but it was in the middle of winter, and it was out in the middle of the forest, and I would see these little tiny footprints, and I couldn't even process it. because I assumed, oh, Bigfoot, they're going to be huge. Like, is this a person walking in the snow out in January? Like, what's going on? But but yeah, just like weird stuff like that would happen. I would have stuff moved around in my house. I would have stuff disappear and reappear after a few weeks. And yeah, it's been a journey. So I had a physical sighting last summer, and I've had a bit of telepathic interactions. And yeah, they're my buds now. I love them. So.
It's always interesting to me how they get our attention.
Right.
What can we do to get their attention? A lot of people talk about this, hearing things on the roof, and
Yeah.
in other ways, in the dream time, being out in the
Yeah.
woods, and so there are
Hanging on the
so many
house.
ways that they choose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was an explosive introduction for sure. But the more I've gotten to know them, they're such beautiful people. Masters of energy. They've come in and healed my dogs when they've had problems, when they've had physical problems, and they've come in and helped me when I've had like really bad migraines, or they've come and helped me balance my energy when I've needed it. Um, I've gotten audio recordings from them. I'll just in my room in my house, I'll just like leave the phone recorder running, and I'll just get all these different grunts and sounds, and they're so fun. They're very loving, and they're good teachers.
That they are. That
I have a
they are.
question. This may sound like an odd question, but we're Sasquatch friends, so it's not so odd to the people who know Sasquatch. Could you tell us how it is, like where you used to live before you're in this house, and how you came to the decision to get into this house, to move to this house that you're in now?
Oh, yeah. So
Where were
yeah,
you
we were
before?
in
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we were in Detroit, and 2020 happened, and we were all just very fearful and in our homes, and it was a it was a very challenging time, as I'm sure it was for a lot of people. And I went from being a kitchen manager, being a chef, working 10 hours a day, 5 days a week or more, and just like being just constantly busy, 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 going from that to nothing, to just sitting in your room and being like, what is my life? Like, what do I value? What do I want to do? Because I was kind of letting like my job and external forces kind of run the show. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait a second, my life is mine and I can do whatever I want with it. And in Detroit, there's one big island park called Belle Isle, and I lived about a mile away from it. And my dogs would go there. My dogs and I would go almost daily, just because we had to get out of the house. And I wasn't honestly a fan of nature before that, but nature and my garden pretty much saved my sanity during that time. So I started a garden. I started growing my own organic vegetables. I started going to the woods, to the park and walking around in nature, and just opening up to that more. And then we got the idea to go to the UP for a vacation. And I don't know who of your listeners knows about the Upper Peninsula, but it's very remote. It's very rural. It's very wooded. It's not very populated at all. And it's accessible through the Mackinac Bridge, which bridges lower Michigan to upper Michigan. And it's like the minute you get past that bridge, the energy is just different. The air smells different. You get a different vibration. It feels like such a magical place. And yeah, so we had a vacation there, and from then on, it was just like we need to go, we need to move, like we have to. So my wife wasn't very happy about it. At first, she was like, I don't want to move. Like I like Detroit, and it was just more and more stuff kept happening where it was just obvious that I wasn't happy where we were, and I wasn't happy doing what I was doing. So we decided to make the change, and we came up here, and this house wasn't even on the market. It was such a weird process, like synchronistic sort of process, and how this house came to us. And it just felt like it was meant to be, really. So, and it's funny because the town that I'm in, Nagani, it means in Ojibwe, it means pioneer, which is pretty awesome. So, so yeah. I don't know. I guess I was just guided to come here, or nudged, or whatever you
Well,
want to
the
call it.
reason why I asked you to tell that story
Hmm.
is because for the listeners to know that you live within 5 minutes of a 5 minutes of a clan of Sasquatch that are now your buddies.
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
minutes
I
walking,
know.
almost walking distance. I
Yeah.
was like that to me. That all that stuff that happened to you, and now you're here. And guess
Hmm.
what? The house comes with a clan of Sasquatch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I had a friend of mine that I was working with. He is a master dowser, and he asked me, he was like, send me a map of your area and we can find out where these guys live. And I was like, okay, I mean, why not, So I sent him like a topographical map of my area, and he doused out. And this was at the same time that I was getting telepathic messages from them being like, go to this spot, go to this area. I didn't know why, but at the same time, he sent me back the map, and it was the exact area that they were telling me to go to. So, yeah, so I mean, I feel like they kind of orchestrated everything. They put people in our lives. I mean, along with my higher selves and my teams, but I feel like they've kind of orchestrated some events that have happened that have gotten me closer to them.
Yeah,
So,
they're very good at doing that. So, it's not all about, well, you move somewhere and then they come. That happens as well. But there is so much of this. They put us where we need to be. If
mhm.
our hearts is open
Yeah.
and our mind is open and we can shift a paradigm, then they will guide us right into where we are. This is my home place. We bought this place about 35 years ago. But for a while, I had to leave it. And I wasn't able to be here. I went through a divorce, and I wasn't allowed to access this part of the property, um, just because of what our agreement was.
Mhm.
And things happened, and I was like, I can't be a part of that. And then whoop, my life changed, and I went out my job. I was out on the road doing things, and I continued that. But the last year before I came back to this place, um, I yearned. I mean, every day it was like my heart,
Yep.
and I wanted to be here, even knowing that if I went back, I couldn't actually be I could be on part of the property, but not this. But my heart wanted to be home. I
Mhm.
needed to be home. I mean, Indigo has traveled with me everywhere, as well as Kashima, and I was all over. So I saw others as well. But then something horrendous happened that totally changed my life and nearly took my life, but gave me the ability to be here on this land and for it to be mine, so that I can be on any part of this that I choose. When I asked to come home, I never specified how.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did specify some things that needed to happen. Um, and it was like, well, here it is, boom. And where am I? Where am I going to be able to go? Well, guess what? I'm going to be able to go home. And,
Yeah.
And there's no way their hand wasn't in that. Did they cause that thing? No. I don't think they did. I think we create a lot of things that we
Oh,
go
yeah,
through.
definitely.
But number one, it did give me everything I asked for when I came
Yeah.
home. It
Yeah.
gave us everything we asked for.
Maybe not in the ways that we want, but
So,
yeah, it somehow lines up.
well, it definitely wasn't how I wanted it to happen.
No.
But even that, there were so many blessings in that. And that's part of what they help us with too, is seeing that there can be really hard stuff, but there's so many blessings. I mean, they put you in the park, in a garden. Oh my gosh, what wonderful things to
Yeah.
bring you home to your
I feel,
heart and to who you are.
yeah, I feel like they really, because when I was younger, I had a pretty strong connection to nature, but somehow it just kind of, life events happen and you grow, you turn into a teenager and you care about other stuff and but yeah, I feel like they really helped me reconnect to nature and like you said, like things happen for a reason that maybe we won't understand for years down the road. Who knows? But yeah, I feel the same way about this area. I never want to leave. I've never felt such a connection to a place before, honestly. So
That's
it's
awesome.
beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love this
Finish
land.
to finish Arla's story. The place that she lives right now is walking distance to the edge of her clan's area.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
she goes out and sleeps outside. That's one of the
I know I've seen the
great fun
platform.
things
It's
about
pretty
her.
cool.
She goes out
Yeah.
right on the edge of the trail of where her clans live and just sleeps there all summer, mostly, right?
Yeah, pretty much all summer. And with these warm spells we've been having, it's been really hard for me not to go and put my tent up.
Oh yeah,
But,
I'm sure.
I know that it's not going to last for a long time. So, but usually, about March, I'll really get to where I want to be out there. I don't like sleeping in a house. I lived in a tent while I was finishing my cabin, and I could live in a tent now.
Mm.
And I have specific orders for Matthew and my children that if it ever gets to where I can't take care of myself or whatever, they're supposed to put me in a tent. and I'll be just fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course for me, nature has always been a part of my life.
Yeah.
But it was so wonderful. And when we connected, I had to thank Flash of Beauty, for that, because that video has brought some wonderful people to me that
Yeah,
I
me
did not
too.
know. So it's just this circle where we keep adding people in the circle.
Mhm.
And then we're all a part of this wonderful, huge circle. And so, whatever we do, and like for you with your Facebook page and your other media, that's just going to add to the circle,
Mhm. That's
because
a great way of looking at it. That's a really good reframe, other than being like, oh, technology. Just look at it as another opportunity to meet really cool
yes,
community.
yeah, you're planting seeds. That's what I tell people all the time. All we're doing is planting seeds. When we do a podcast, we're planting seeds. A lot of times we won't know, if those seeds ever grew, but it really doesn't negate that that's what we're supposed to do. And yeah, media connects us to people we choose to be connected to.
Yeah,
But
I
remember when I
agree.
was talking to you yesterday about the first time I met the Sasquatch people, I was introduced to them was with that shamanic journey, and of which I was talking
Mhm.
to the rock god. So I talked to this rock god for like 3 hours, and then the next 3 days it was like about 10 or 15 minutes each day, and he talked about how the rock god wanted us to have electricity, rock god and water, and they wanted us to have electric lights, and they wanted us to have, you see, television, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
fax machines. They wanted us to have cell phones. They wanted us, you see what I'm saying? So to me, that changed my whole reality around about social media and the internet, and even into
It's all
AI, even
neutral.
into
It's
the
how we
evil
use it.
AI. It's the elements themselves want that for us. So it's sort of like,
Exactly.
well, what am I doing? I'm just playing around in my head. There's nothing to be afraid of, really.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Because
Yeah,
you
I
choose,
mean they all have the elements within it. Sorry, what was that?
I said, you choose. We each choose, what it is. Um, and, that goes back, and I say this all the time, because Shima had said to me early on when he was teaching me about things, don't judge as good or bad. Ask
Yeah.
yourself, am I compatible with this energetically? Am I compatible with this person, this thing, this thought, whatever? And if I'm not, just take myself from it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So when you speak out about anything, if you do it with love and compassion, no matter what it is, and respect, and it's done in a good way, and we have that right to speak up. But I always say I want to speak up, I don't want to speak out. If I'm speaking out, I'm throwing in my mind,
Mm,
I'm throwing
right.
something at you. If I'm speaking up, I'm holding something up, a thought, something that's been done, something I need to share, something that I see I need to speak up about. And
Yeah.
their teachings on that alone are just wonderful about how to do that. How do we do that?
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about the word light worker lately and how it's got connotations of like trying to change people's perspectives with your light. And I've been thinking about using the word light bearer instead, where you're showing the light. You're not trying to change anyone's opinion. You're not trying to change anyone's energy. You're just showing, you're just emanating your light, and that's how change happens, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because everyone makes their own choice to change. You don't make that choice for them. You present the light, and it's up to them.
Hmm.
I can't change anybody. Arla can't. I can shine the light. I can be the light. I can talk about the light, but it falls back on each individual. I mean, because they're going to see a whole lot of other stuff too, besides, light and sharing light, and they make the choices to be a part of that as
Right.
well. So we're doing what we know to do from our heart space. And that's where the trueness of who we are comes from.
I agree. Yeah. Um, I recently did a show with this woman, Linda, who is from a very, very different, I guess, I don't want to say faction, but she's from kind of a different group of the spiritual community that she does like political tarot. And I had her on my show and I was talking about some of the Sasquatch experiences that I've had. And in the comments, people, wow, it was really surprising. I would say it was about 95% of everyone was super supportive and really just very interested and fascinated by it. But there were a few people that were just like, oh man, this is crap. And they were so vocal and they were so upset.
Yeah,
It was really weird. I hadn't experienced that before, but I think in the past I would have had, felt like hurt feelings or, like felt a little rejection or whatever, but it was interesting. I felt much more neutral about it. And I was like, and I even wrote back to them. I'm like, it's okay. You can believe whatever you want. I'm just sharing
exactly.
my personal
Exactly.
experience.
I
So,
don't think I've ever spoke at a conference or a gathering where I spoke that I didn't tell people, you don't have to believe anything I say. I'm
yeah,
just sharing my experiences. And,
yeah.
but I'm asking you not to throw it out, just file it away. And even the Flash of Beauty Paranormal, they use that towards the end.
Mhm.
Me saying that, don't throw it away, just file it away, because you never know when you're going to have some kind of experience, and that may help you understand, what's going on. I still have file it away moments from listening to other things. No, I don't know. I'm not going to throw it out. I'm going to take myself from it, but I'm going to file it away because there may at some point be a thing that I need to look at that a little
Right.
more. And I've seen that happen so many times. And so we all need to not just throw things out, but file them away.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I had no idea Sasquatch people were interdimensional until like last year. Really? I until I started watching a couple people on YouTube and they were talking about them disappearing and going into portals and I was like that's crap. So I I was in the same space. I was of the same mentality. I'm like no, this is garbage. No way. But I did throw it out, but then I feel like I dug it out of the mental trash can after I started having some experiences, and I'm like, all right, okay, this is valid. So that was a good learning experience for sure.
But, it is so important to listen to all kinds of things because it does give you a reference, whether it's not a reference that you want to pursue, but it is. Um,
Mhm.
and that's one of the teachings too that I've received is uh, to be logical in your thinking, and that for some people I know that blows their mind when I talk about me being logical.
Right.
But I think logically about so many things. Now, is my logical maybe a little different than somebody else's? It could be.
Mm.
I don't know. But, we connect within ourselves and make our own decisions. And I say that so many times, because people tend to think that anyone's out here talking about all this woo and stuff is this is some kind of cult and you got to believe everything they say, or, and there are people in the Bigfoot world that a lot of people know who do that. You have to believe, like
Mhm.
I do. You have to believe that they do this and this and this and this, but they don't do that other. And so if we are not open ourselves and keep our heart open and we're following someone, we could miss something. And I tell people, don't take my word for 100%. Find out for yourself. I can
Yeah.
only speak to what I experience. And that's what we all need to do.
Yeah. Less following and less leading ourselves. Less less listening to others and more listening to ourselves, I would say.
I,
Because nobody knows everything about
No,
anything.
no.
Uh,
I wanted
what
to
were you gonna say?
say, I wanted to say that this is Pork and Bean Show. Me and Brian Bland started it, and now Brian's shot off, and he does a Pork and Pappy show, and one of my main connections to the Sasquatch people is doing shows. I mean, I feel them like every day, or every time I go for a walk, I feel them. But I also feel like today I was feeling like, well, this is one of my very, very small ways of giving back. And I know that Arla has been told by the spirits or the star people or the grandmothers that she should speak. And so I wanted to ask you about your podcast, AetherFlows podcast. Could
Hmm.
you talk about the history of that and the feelings, the urges of about needing to speak, and you have so much Sasquatch content, and you talk about that connection too, how it started.
Yeah, for sure. So, I would say back in 2019, somewhere along there, like very early on for me in my spiritual journey. Um, I took some Reiki classes and I felt like that was a piece of the puzzle, but I didn't really understand where it fit in or anything. And so I took this class and I was like, I know that this is going to help me out somehow in my life, but I didn't really resonate with it and I didn't really use it all that much. I was just like, oh, that's cool. Okay, I'll file that away and we'll see what comes of it. And yeah, a couple of years goes by and I quit my job and I was feeling very, I didn't know. I feel like half of my life it was kind of just this loop of going through these jobs that I didn't really like, having these like weird power dynamics with bosses and then quitting and then getting a new job, and so it would just go on and on like this. And so after I got the Reiki certification, doing the classes, it was, I was working on friends and stuff and it was all very, very casual. And so I started working with Aisha, and during my work with her, um, I discovered my guides gave me my own healing modality, and they said, this is your modality. This is what you have done for a very long time. So here you are. It's yours again, and you're supposed to use it. You're going to be a healer. You're going to have a practice. You're going to do all sorts of stuff. And I asked them, I was like, okay, well, how do I use this? What does it do? And they were like, figure it out. So, so I was like, okay, all right, I guess I don't really know what this does or what it is, or, I'll play around with it. We'll find out. And at the same time, they also told me that I was to start a YouTube channel, and I was so resistant to that. I had always been in kitchens in the background. I had always had jobs where no one saw me, where no one heard me, where I was just working by myself. I was very happy being a wallflower. And so yeah, I was very resistant. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I feel like I have nothing to offer people on YouTube. I'm camera shy. I wouldn't even know what to say. And they told me they were very stern, and they said, who are you to deny others of your wisdom?
Whoa.
I know. It's like getting me in my heart right now. Whew. But
Could you go over they again and
my guides.
drill in on that? Yeah, and because you're talking as if they actually give mind speak to you, which is a kind of a big deal,
Oh yeah.
which you're treating like is nothing, like a
Hmm.
normal,
No, no,
everyday,
no.
common. But to me, it's like that's a big deal. It's guides talking to you. That's like
Well,
wow.
I mean, you told me yesterday that you get little telepathic blips, but it just I'm not super clairaudient. I hear sometimes. So I get these messages, and telepathy, the way telepathy works is it's all the senses. It's not just hearing these like big booming words in your head, It's like for example, one time I was walking out in the woods and I turned around to tell my dog to hurry up and I heard the word wait, watch. And I just waited and I watched and then I saw one of the Sasquatch people walk across the road. But it's like it's feelings, it's sensations, you can get smells. There's all sorts of ways that telepathy works. But I think we just don't really we're all telepathic, we just don't really recognize it. You know what I mean?
I do, but it's they call it paranormal, and
Hmm.
the except for the people who do it, and then they're so completely normal that it's like breathing. So you know what I mean?
I just
There-
it's
There's
yeah,
there's
I
no
don't
there's no
know.
like, oh yeah, wow, I'm getting these messages because you
It
know
was it was definitely amazing. I don't know. That's kind of just how it's always been with me. Like I started seeing these light ships in my backyard and I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is what life is now. Like I don't really I guess I don't really um it's just been happening so frequently that I feel like it's kind of just my life now. So,
well we
but
come we come from the infinite. We are
mhm,
immortal and we come from the infinite. So to me, I think that's a sign of the awakening of humanity is because
Yes.
definitely.
if you're an infinite immortal soul, then mind speak's not going to have that uh what do you call it? Spiritually transformative power. You know what I mean? It's not going to blow you away. It's just sort of like, well, it's normal, and in fact it really is normal, except it's um coming from the no space or it's coming from another dimension.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like I've always talked to myself. I've always been taught, like I always work things out. I'll be driving the car and I'll have a whole conversation with myself, working out an issue that I'm thinking of. And so I've kind of always had that internal dialogue going. So when it started, with my guide speaking to me, it almost sounds like it's my own voice, but it's quieter. It's much quieter. I have to be in a certain space, in a certain energy to be able to hear it. Otherwise, it's just my own mind chattering away.
So it was your spirit guides, that got you started or planted the seeds. But then how did the Sasquatch become so, intrusive into your little healing stories?
I have no idea,
Because
honestly.
to me that's fascinating
Like,
because that's the play, that's the Leela that
yeah.
well, oh, she's going to do this. Well, they know exactly what to do when there's a podcast going on.
Right. Yeah, I don't honestly, I've kind of given up trying to figure it out with my mind. I don't know. I'm definitely not the one in control. I'm just along for the ride, really. So there I'm not really sure what I get the sense that I've had a connection with them for a very long time. Um, but beyond that, I don't really know. I feel like I'm very connected to the earth. Like I have a very earthy sort of energy. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Well, I think I drug you off off topic there. So why don't you talk a little bit about your healing modality, your healing package abilities? Talk about that a little bit to kind of counterbalance, because that's the to get a good image of you, you have the Sasquatch over here and you have your healing life stuff over here.
Mm. Yeah, so it's this so far what I've been able to because it's all I feel like it's always changing. Like the more my energy changes, the feelings that I get are different with my modality when I work on people. But what I have gathered is that I it's I work with somebody and I set the space and I connect my highest light to their highest light and they facilitate all the change. I'm kind of just the vessel. So my high heart chakra kind of turns on and this energy kind of emanates from me and I can see the person and I can see, their pillar of light and their chakras and stuff and I can see what goes on, but I feel like the actual work is done between my highest light and theirs. So it kind of just, I always tell people I don't know how long it's going to go for, but it usually lasts about half an hour and it just turns on and then it just turns off and it's like, okay, well, I guess it's done. And I have what I've heard from my
This is
guides is that
energetic. It's not is this energetic, or is it like a guided meditation, or is it talk therapy, or what kind of stuff is it?
it's
It's just
it's
energy.
all it's energetic. It works mainly with the emotional field and with the physical field. So I've worked with in particular one of my best friends who we did we discussed he went to the doctor and he was told that he had an inch and a half in diameter kidney stone and this guy's in his mid 30s. So I don't know where this came from. I mean, maybe you can get them that big at any age. But he had kidney pains, and so I went to the doctor, and they found out there was this giant kidney stone stuck in his organ. But he was in a different country at the time, and so he wasn't able to get anything worked on because, he didn't have health insurance where he was. And so we did a couple of sessions, about four, I would say, and we set the intention to break this stone down. And yeah, we worked together, and about 6 months later, he was back in the country and went to the doctor and got checked out, and it's gone. So I don't know. Yeah. So there's been stories of that. There's been stories of people that I've worked on where they don't feel very much, but then they wake up the next day and they're like, I need to move to Arizona, or I need to do, like some big drastic change. They're like, I need to change my entire life right now. So I don't, yeah, I'm not 100% sure on what exactly happens, but I know that big changes occur.
That's so
So,
powerful, because when I hear that when they say, I got to change this, I'm going to move here, I'm going to do that. When I hear that, remember what I said, that the wound is in the story. And when you
mm,
move, you do big things different. Like, let's say you became a vegetarian, or you moved, or you started a new job. These are big moves to the story. When you change the
yeah.
story, you change the wound. Like, the wound is
Hmm.
the story, and the story is the wound. And our life is the story. So we change the story. Everything, everything, it gets reset.
Hmm. Yeah, especially when you just are able to finally get out of your own way in whatever regard that is.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
that's the biggest, getting out of your own way.
I know. Me too. I mean, yeah, that's a big one for me as well. So, but yeah, I mean, geez, I went from just not wanting much interaction with anyone within my job or within, like I was kind of afraid of people and wanted to work in this career that I didn't have to deal with other people and not really wanting to be seen, not wanting to be heard, going from that to being on camera all the time and like telling these stories about myself that I mean, frankly, I had a hard time telling good friends at first, because there's always that I mean, not I won't say that. I won't say always, but in the beginning there definitely was a sense of fear of rejection and, you're gonna think I'm nuts or too woo-woo or whatever. And so now I'm just now this is what I do, is what I talk about. So I go on YouTube and online and I find people that really resonate with me and I cold call them. I say, "Hey, Arla, I don't know you and you don't know me, but let's get together and have a chat." And it works out. And it's been so fun. I've met incredible people like you guys and others, and it's really, really great how when you're in alignment with what you're supposed to do with the universe, how stuff works out, Stuff
Yeah.
gets really easy.
Stuff works out. And I love what the impression I got from what you're saying is the whole internet is about people telling new stories.
Mm.
I mean, that think of all the near-death people and all the people who are involved with the UFO community, and it's like it's all very transformative stories. People's lives are changing and stuff. Yeah.
Mm. Definitely.
Yeah, and this whole media thing, especially about the Bigfoot people, um, has exploded
Yeah.
over the
Yeah.
last. Well, actually, I came to the public in 2009 and then got on Facebook on New Year's Eve 2009. I hadn't
Mm.
been on Facebook. And I mean, it was like slam, here you go. Let's start talking. And of course, at that time, it was immediately, oh, she's nuts, and everything.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I'm being crazy before crazy was cool. I've always been who I am, so that
Yeah.
didn't bother me. It shocked me in the beginning a little bit, but it didn't bother me, and I didn't feel like I was anything less. I wasn't a young woman when I came into the media world, so that helped, I'm sure. But the thing is, what's happened to us, everything that happens to us does so for a reason.
Mm.
And so many of those reasons are someone's going to come that needs that story.
Yeah. I
And that's the
agree.
most important part of sharing our story for others, is because they need that. Now, I write a lot and I
Oh,
put stuff on Facebook and stuff. And I can guarantee you, if I put something on there, there's something in that I needed to look at.
mm.
I needed to look at deeper than what I was looking at it. So I don't put anything out with the thought, well, I got this aced, so this is how this is. It's not. I'm still learning. And I love that too. I love
Yeah.
that we don't stop learning at all. And when we stop learning, we start regressing. We
Mm.
don't stay where we're at, we regress. And that was one thing the ancestor grandmothers had told me when they had talked to me about a decision I needed. And they told me that I could progress. I could make progress. But I couldn't just stop and say, whoa, I don't want any more. I don't want to know anymore. I'm okay right here with what I know, because if you do, you'll regress. Bits and pieces of things that you held at that time will fall away.
Mm.
So you find yourself not, and I've actually seen that happen with people where they just stop. They say, whoa, I can't stand any more of this stuff. I don't want to see anything else. I don't want to have any part of anything else other than what I know right now.
Yeah.
And then they would start to regress. And part of those things would, the things that helped them grow, get left. And so there's
Yeah.
only one choice for us if, we want to know what's really going on and who we are, and that's to progress. And you can't progress if you're not learning.
Absolutely. I feel like when people put the brakes on like that, they're trying to control out of fear. And when you clam up and you're all fearful, you're not going to learn. You're going to forget stuff. And so there's a certain freeing sort of aspect of just saying, I don't control anything. I don't know everything. I have to learn. I feel like that's the whole point of being here is to learn and to remember. So yeah, you can't hold on to like, oh, I know this much and this is all I want to know. You have to
Yep.
be open to learning whatever it is, uncomfortable or not. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Well, and Michael works with that, helping people let go of things and see, and it's basically they're growing because they're looking at things and, letting things go.
Yeah.
And that's such an important thing for us to do.
I'm a funny healer. I have engagement.
You are funny.
Yeah, it's funny. I have engagements with like about 7,500 people, and
Oh,
I don't
wow.
talk to any of them. I don't, because
Yeah.
the story is the wound. So what are they going to tell me? Their story?
Yeah.
You want to know how to get out of it. So process work is how you get out of it. You do a different process, like self-love process. That's a process, right? You do that, and you begin
Oh,
to
it sure is.
love, right? Then there's some judgment and denial releases where you have all these judgments, and I've got a list of hundreds of judgments, and you just release these judgments, and that changes you. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Oh, definitely.
I'm not good enough till I am good enough. And there's variations on the theme. I'm not good enough as a mother. I'm not good enough as a person. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good looking enough. I'm not rich enough. You see what I'm saying? I'm not spiritual enough.
Hmm.
All that stuff, you just keep letting that stuff go, keep releasing that stuff, and you change. You know what I mean? And I don't need to sit there and hold your hand in order to do that. You can do it. You know what I mean? You're the one who did it getting stuck. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't your fault. I mean, you kind of like there's no way out of it when you're a kid. There's no way out of it, but still, you're the one who did it because you came to the unavoidable wrong conclusions. Most of the emotional healing is because of unavoidable wrong conclusions. I'm not worthy. I don't deserve love.
Hmm.
I'm not allowed to be who I really am. I have to hide. All these kind of things. Those are
I
unavoidable.
shouldn't love myself because that's selfish. I heard that a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, if you have the judgment of I'm not allowed love, that means you're not allowed. And then you look at the grapes, which is I'm not allowed love from my dog. I'm not allowed love from my kids. I'm not allowed love from my God. I'm not allowed love from my family. I'm not allowed love from my friends. I'm not allowed love from my job. You see what I'm saying? If you
Hmm.
have one of these core judgments, you just screwed the pooch. It's over for you. Your
Yeah.
whole life is just
Yeah. Well, it shapes your whole
desolate.
life.
It's just a desolate wasteland. And you wonder why there's 55,000 people commit suicide every year.
Mm. And opioids and all the rest of it. It's just band-aids to cover up the pain they feel of having this feeling of disconnection too, you know? You
Disconnect.
have church
Yeah,
you have the church telling you that only priests can feel God's love or you have to go through Jesus or you have to go through some middleman and it's
or
like,
you were born a sinner. There's a lot of that.
oh yes. Yeah, what
Yeah.
is
The
that
Baptists
about?
are really good at that. You're
Ugh.
born sinners, so pay up your money.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Pay your tithings. Yeah, it's there's so many different ways that you know, ancestral patterning and societal conditioning have told us that we don't deserve love. And I feel like that's one of the bit that is the biggest. That's the biggest
Yep.
core wound that we all have to heal is that we are love. We're made of love. We deserve love. We everything is love, you know, and that we're always connected. We've always been, we are the all that is. We don't have to go through some priest
Now
or
you're talking
who,
about
you know,
about
whatever.
understanding. If you're a kid and you're told that you're a human, that you belong to this family and that you speak this language and you have this religion, right? I mean, that's the wrong
That's your
understanding.
story. Yeah.
Because then you think, then you have to act like a kid, or you have to act like a part of the family. You have to act like you're act your age, and then you have to act like, you know what I mean? And the whole thing is pretense, which is a split away, a schizophrenic split away from your authentic self, right?
Yeah,
And
I
with
agree with
no
that
ladder or window into the authentic self, right? So
because you've never seen it.
no, and it never even occurred to you. Like, but you know, some people like maybe the American Indian people or some other people, they will say, "Oh, you are connected to the earth. You're connected to the sky. You're connected to the water." And there's other cultures that do that. Ours didn't. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
So,
this thing, spare the rod and spoil the child, is actually a big deal. It was actually a big deal.
Mhm.
yeah.
Spare the rod and spoil the child. So you get beaten whenever you actually trying to be expressing yourself,
Now you
and
get,
you get beaten for it, or
Hmm.
condemned, or judged, or shamed, or teased, or ridiculed, or whatever it is. This if you say that 55,000 a year, in 2 years, that's 100,000, right? In
yeah,
20 years, what would that be?
It'd be a lot.
Yeah,
too many,
100,000, huh?
Too
Yeah.
many for
many.
sure. Yeah.
One's too
In 20
many.
years, I think it'd be like a
No,
million. It'd be like
but
a million suicides every 20 years. Mind blowing.
Mm.
yeah, it is.
One thing about your story, well, your upbringing, Arla, was that your grandmother and your parents seemed to be very supportive of what you were
My
seeing.
whole
And
family, both sets of grandparents, and my mom and I had a interesting relationship, and my dad was always my savior.
Mhm.
So, but at that token, I was allowed to think and to express myself without feeling like I was going to really be in trouble. Now, my mom had a really hard time for me, so our soul contract was rough, but she ended this life, and we were so close and loved each other so much. But I was taught that you think for yourself
Mm.
about things. And I was taught that you never be unkind to people. And that was on both sides. I was never taught racism. And I grew up in a time where there were no black people were allowed to live within the city limits of the town I
Ugh.
grew up in. But I was never taught racism. It was never talked about in my family. There were never derogatory words about anybody on both sides of my grandparents. My Colette grandfather, we would talk, and I'd go to him and tell him something I was going through. And I'd say, "What do you think I should do?" And he would always say, "You know what's right. You know
Oh.
what's right." So, not only my grandmother, who taught me about so many things in life that I was actually the closest with, my other grandparents And, I was not an easy child to deal with at all because I had
Were you a little
definite,
spitfire?
definite opinions about things. I
Yeah.
used to tell my one grandmother, my Colette grandmother, they were Pentecostal holiness, UPC, and that's how I was primarily raised. I would tell her all the time, Mimi, I don't want to go to heaven. And she never once told me, don't say that. That's wrong. You shouldn't be
Mm.
saying that. She would say, why? Why don't you want to go to heaven? And my answer was, because all there is up there is gold streets and mansions, and where are the trees and the animals and everything else? That's not there. If it's not there, I don't want to go there. So, I was allowed that. I feel very blessed that I had the grandparents and my dad and my mom, because I learned so much from my mom. But
Yeah. What
yes,
a different experience that must have been. Wow. I love
yeah,
that. I mean, geez. And I bet and that really shaped your whole personality, your whole life
yeah,
with those
yeah.
core beliefs, you know?
There are a lot of things in my life that have not been pleasant, I would say, and really bad things. But there was always that light. And when I was little, I loved to be under sheets hanging over the clothesline, like I was in a tent. And one time I made a tent out of two old sawhorses and a blanket. And I would go in there and just sit and be real quiet and just listen. So I had so many positive things in my life that outweighed the negative things that happened in life that brought me to who I am today. And that's the thing. No matter what you've been through in your life, who are you today? Who
Mm.
are you today? Have you opened up and released all those horrible things that have happened, in your life? And can you take responsibility to open up your heart,
Mm.
and know that you can let all this go? And if you get to that point, you can begin to see the positive that come from all those horrendous things. That's like COVID. COVID was horrendous. I lost many people I loved, but there were also people like you that saw, oh, I got to
Hmm.
shift. Something's going on here now. And,
Yeah.
I probably talked to way over 100 people who shifted during that time, who got the message, okay, I got to do something else.
Yeah.
I'm shut down here. I can't keep going status quo. I got to
Yeah.
find out, what am I supposed to be doing? And that's what you told us you did.
Hmm.
And so we
And
have
if
to look at both sides.
Yeah, definitely. And just that realization that it's not everyone outside of me's problem. It's me. Like
Yeah.
I'm the one who's making myself feel miserable. It's not the boss. It's not your partner. It's not the mortgage. It's not, this and that. It's all on the inside. So if you want to feel better, if you've always had that feeling that there's more to life than working and watching Netflix and feeling like crap all the time, you got to change from the inside.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But
That,
you had that core set of really positive, awesome values that I feel like have been
yeah,
very helpful
yeah,
for you.
it was. I already, and I said this a lot of times. My grandfather Clet told me it didn't matter if I was a girl. I could
Oh,
be
that's
anything
a good
I
one.
wanted to be.
Yeah.
If I wanted to dig ditches for a living, I could dig ditches. If I wanted to be the best cook in the world, I could be the best cook. But
Yeah.
I was to do it the best that I could. So it didn't make any difference. So I didn't, growing up, I didn't have any of this. Well, you're a boy, so you get all of this. I
Mhm.
already had that thought. Wait a minute, I'm a girl. If I want to dig that ditch, I can dig that ditch. If I want to
Yeah.
get dressed up and everything else, I can get dressed up. Those are my choices, not someone else's
Yeah.
choices.
That's awesome. I love that. I love your family. I haven't even met them and I love them.
Well, they would love you too.
Oh, that's great. That's cool. What about you, Michael? What's going on?
Um, I'm just really enjoying the show. I wanted let me see. We talked a little bit about your healing. Also, you did some amazing work talking with that lady, Miss Love, about your inner child work, or you found
Oh yeah.
something about your hip. That was a great story.
Oh,
That was just like
yeah.
off the chain because it was so appropriate to the way it actually works inside. We have When we have words like these judgments, they're not actually just thoughts. They're thought forms, which means that they are
Hmm.
a person. It is a
Yeah.
personality inside of us saying you're
It's like
not
a
good enough, you're
tulpa.
not worthy, or it's your job to feel suffering. That's your
Yeah.
feel suffering, right? And then there's a lot of different ways of confronting that. One is to give them love and to bring it back into the fold and send it on its way, or other one. And then there's another way where you shout and you chop it to pieces and kill it, shoot it, burn it, set it on fire.
I mean, you could, but
Well,
I don't think that in the long term.
it all depends on what it is that's
Hmm,
your problem. I'm just saying there's a whole spectrum of ways of dealing
sure.
with this. And in some ways, if you're a person who's a victim, it may be really good for you to be ultra violent to these things because that brings
Hmm,
you into your power. And if you're already a powerful person, then maybe love is what you need to be able to soften and change everything. So why don't you tell
yeah.
us that story? Because I think that was a great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was it was very it was really eye-opening for me. So in that instance, that was I would say that that was like ancestral mother-daughter lineage energy. So I mean, I don't even know how much of that was even mine. I don't know. But so through working with Aisha, we primarily did I was introduced to shadow work and I didn't even know what that was in the beginning. I just, I was very, very, very much so like a newbie with that sort of stuff. But we did a ton of shadow work and and mainly what shadow work is just introspection and reflecting on like your judgments and why you have these judgments. Judgments are mainly just projections of lack within yourself. So, say you're walking down the street and you see someone that has a body type you don't agree with, and you're like, that person's fat. Ugh, they're probably dumb or stupid or whatever. That's all inside yourself. That has nothing to do with them. That has to do with how you feel about yourself. And so once you kind of realize this, it's like you see it everywhere you go. At least I did for me. I was like, holy crap, I'm projecting lack and how I feel about myself onto everyone in my life. And so I had to change a lot and transmute a lot of gunk in that gets stored in your body. Like how we were talking about the other yesterday. I had a voice that came to me and told me that the emotion of regret was stored in my joints and in my cartilage and in my bones. And that was a total revelation. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I am literally storing my garbage my own garbage in my body. Like that's why I get inflammation in my joints hurt, because I'm storing my own icky emotions that I don't want to deal with inside myself. And so I started working with clearing out my subtle bodies. I would just go into meditation and just, I would say, okay, physical body field, please open up and clear. And I would feel all of this stuff coming out of my feet, coming out of my hands, just draining out of my body. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. Let me try the etheric field. And I would open up, different layers. And I eventually got to the causal body, which I was always taught is where a lot of like ancestral miasma, ancestral gunk is kind of stored. And I was really deep in meditation this one day, and I opened up the causal body and I just said, causal body, please open up. And to give a little context, I had had hip pain on the left side of my hip for a couple of years, and I'd been going to chiropractors and rolfers and massage therapists and doing physical therapy for my hip, and nothing really seemed to touch it. It was always just there, just aching. And I was taking supplements and yada yada, but nothing was really touching it. So I opened up the causal body that one day and I said, please open up and clear. And I distinctly heard a very loud no. It was like like a tortured scream. It was just awful. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? And instead of being afraid and, snapping out of my meditation, I went deeper and I was like, what is that? Who is that? A person? Is that somebody? And I saw somebody in my mind's eye, and it was this elderly woman with like a shawl or covering around her face, and she was just old and wrinkled and just looked like an old prune woman. And she was lying like in a fetal position on the floor, and I was like, who are you? And she gave the word babushka, which is Russian for grandma. And my mom is Ukrainian. My whole mother's side of the family is Ukrainian. And I just talked to her and I was like, what's wrong? And she was like, I haven't been heard. I haven't been listened to. I haven't been understood. And so we had this long conversation, and I just listened to her, what she had to say. And it was weird. There was this transformation that sort of happened to her in my mind's eye. The more she talked and the more like I sent love to her, and I was like, I love you. I accept you. She kind of like rehydrated. She kind of like plumped up, and her outfit changed, and she ended up with this like traditional white Ukrainian garb and was super happy and like spinning circles, and my hip pain went away and it hasn't come back. So
Fantastic.
Awesome. Yep.
so now I work with her. She's like kind of one of my aspects. So
That's
yeah, so I do
awesome.
healing work with her.
Fantastic story.
Yeah.
People don't even know
Yeah,
they can
she's
do
great.
that, but you can do those kind of, there's a lot of magic stuff going on out there that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, the body's a pretty interesting place. That's for sure.
Very
Well,
much so.
in my
Yeah.
format, it's the body is the higher self of the body is the father of manifestation, which is the god of
Mhm.
form.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So everything that
that's
has form is formed by the father of manifestation, including our bodies.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I mean, you have to think everything is made of ether, everything is made of chi, of energy, so it's all an illusion. Your table, your laptop, your body, it's all just
Everything
energy.
has a form. Words have forms. Marriages have forms.
Hmm.
Podcasts have forms.
Yeah, it's funny. I do healing on my podcast every once in a while.
Really?
That's
Just
awesome.
yeah, it's when I want to change or when I want to kind of evolve it, I'll include the podcast because it is like a thought form. It's an
Mm.
idea. So
I want to ask you
What a great idea.
something about
I
the
could have
energy.
used that a few months ago. That'd
right.
be funny more funny for Arla than for you.
Yeah.
I want to ask you something about the energy that you work with as your healing modality.
Mhm.
You've worked with Reiki, and you know what that energy is. And I believe you felt the healing energy that the Bigfoot people
Oh
have
yeah.
as well. Do you feel there's a comparison between all three of those types of energy? Is there something that you notice? Say, for instance, you're doing a healing in the modality that you were given.
Mhm.
Um, does anything about that remind you of the energy that the Bigfoot people would have?
It yeah, I would compare it more to the I mean it's all universal energy and stuff, but like I feel like it resonates more with the Bigfoot energy because it has its own intelligence. I don't try to guide
Yes.
it
Yeah.
at all. I feel like it came to me and it was a complete package and I was told don't don't try to add anything, don't try to control it. Just give it. It has its own intelligence and it will know what to do within the body.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
I
feel like
think
with Reiki, I don't know. What was
there's
that?
a familiarity, maybe that's a better word, with energetic healing modalities. It's like if you're doing what you're doing and then feeling you already know what it feels like when the Bigfoot
Hmm.
people do this. Um, there's a familiarity about it. It's not exact, but there is something in both of those energies that connect.
Hmm.
And that's one of the things that I've seen over many years, and especially with people who are given a modality. They're
Oh,
not
really?
doing something that's already considered a modality, which Reiki would be a modality, and
Right.
many Qigong and many other things would be modalities of healing. But when one comes that in its pure form, um, it is very close to um, the Sasquatch energy of
Huh.
healing, the deep healing that energy that they possess. Um, People don't feel that all the time, and not a whole lot at all. But having traveled and teach for years, I'd met several who did or were given a complete modality and told not to change anything in doing the modality
Right.
until that modality itself actually orchestrated something.
Oh, okay. That's cool. That's good to know because I haven't experienced I haven't heard of anyone else. So I didn't really have
Mm-hmm.
any context, I guess, or any
Yeah.
sort of comparison. So I did feel a little kind of like I don't know, like what am I supposed to do with this? Like I don't even know what it is. I don't know what it does. How am I supposed to tell clients what it does for them? And since then I've kind of given up the control aspect of it and
Yeah.
trying to like push and you know
Yeah.
so I just let it run. I let it do what it does and I feel like it's fun for me because it's a little different every time so I get to
Mhm.
learn a little bit more every
Yeah.
time I use it. But yeah, it
I
feels
know.
different when I do it on myself than when I do it on people.
Yeah, I would imagine that
Yeah.
energy might. I know one girl I met years ago, um, she had been given a full modality. I mean, she was a Reiki master. She had done all kinds of other things. And then it was, well, this is what you're going to do. And they came to her, those that, how did she say? Those that held the key to this modality came to her, and they just presented it, and with the understanding that they were going to, and I'm using they as just not like a multiple, but that they would be helping her understand some of the things about it, how to go about it, because she did the very same thing that you did. She was like, how am I supposed to do this? Okay, I already have a healing practice and I want to use this now.
Mm-hmm.
And what am I supposed to call it? And so, they began to work with her. But one of the things, she did some work on me. And I don't consider it work. She did some energy healing on me. And when she did, and I connected to that energy, it was the same energy that Kashima calls primal energy. Energy from the beginning, not, primitive or anything else, but energy from the beginning. And hers felt so much like that.
Huh.
And
That's interesting. That might make sense why I feel like I've worked with them for a long time. Maybe they've kind of, and I feel like the Reiki training was like kind of a primer, or like it opened the door.
right.
Because it
Yeah, and
really did help my vibration. It really raised it once I got the
yeah.
training. So,
And they're all value. They all have such value. And I had asked Kashima about this primal energy. And one of the things that he told me was it comes in many forms,
okay.
but it is all from the beginning, what he calls the primal seed, which is, if you want to call that existence or whatever. But there would be different forms of it. And I never did ask him if that was because each of us have our own individual energy, or is that, I may have to ask him that. So, but yeah, and since that time, I have met many people who were given a modality. So
Awesome.
it
I
was
love
pretty
that.
cool with you talking about that.
Yeah. It makes me feel good to know that there are more people who have had that experience too. It's nice.
What do you
It's
mean,
nice to know.
being given a modality or?
Well, yeah, and just having that connection with the Sasquatch people, and because now I feel like it might be a good idea for me to ask my buds to maybe teach me or help me remember a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
You last time we talked, you actually have a really good selection of classic Sasquatch experiences. You actually have a photograph somewhere of a
Hmm.
really good
Yeah.
photograph of
Oh
Sasquatch.
yeah, Arla, I think I
And
sent you a couple of photographs of the little prints.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
wish
they're
you could get it.
so
Wish you had it on your
cute.
computer. You could just pull it up.
I know.
But
I
anyway,
would, yeah, if I can ever figure out how to do the split screen, I'll show him.
and you had
I'll send them to you
you
though.
also had an experience of the sort of like the green Sasquatch blob that just sort of
Oh
was,
yeah.
you could see through
Yeah.
it, but it was like, like Brian Bland's pictures where there's this green thing and it's sort of in the shape of a Sasquatch, but you can still see the
Yeah.
tree. So you
Yeah,
have
it's so
that's
cool.
some
It looks kind of
experience.
like a little Ewok inside of it. It's like a little Ewok face. It's really cute. Yeah, I just go out into the woods by my house, and I started I would go to the edge of the woods and I would ask them if it's okay if I come in and hang out and take pictures. And if I get, a big heart expansion, then that's a yes. And I would come in and just take random photos because there's always like tree arches in the woods that are like kind of woven together with other trees, and you can just see it and you just know. It's like when you go to the mall and you look at those photos that are like, once you see the image that pops out, like it's like you can't unsee it. So like I'll just, you just look around and you're like, oh, there's one, and you just start seeing all the little subtle signs. And so I would just walk through the woods with my dogs and take some pictures, and I would start seeing weird, not weird, but like images that I didn't see when I took the photo. I would see, like I have one of like a green sort of haze with a face in it in one of the trees. And what's another one? Just like little anomalies. Like you'll see faces in the trees when you take pictures. Sometimes little faces will pop out, and yeah, it's really fun taking pictures of nature beings. So
And they've been there all along, and people just didn't see them. And now they're seeing them.
yeah,
And
I feel
I
like
love that.
yeah, I feel like for me, when I finally kind of understood as opposed to understood that all the trees were actually beings, like every single one of them, and everything was alive in the forest, I feel like I started getting more images, like more images of stuff. And so, yeah, that's when stuff started showing up more in the photos. But
Trees are
I did
really
have a
high
photo.
beings.
What's that?
I said trees are really high beings.
They're
They
wonderful. I
just
love
sit there
them.
and look at the stars all night long, and the sun and
Mm.
stars. I mean, it's like unbelievable. That's why I think all the
There's
great masters used to meditate against a tree.
mm.
Christ did it, and Buddha did it, and a lot of the Indian masters do it.
They're so good at being still. I think they can teach us how to be more still, how to be comfortable with the stillness.
Very
That's something
much so.
And yet yet
I'm
they move more than we do.
I know, yeah, you can see them. Yeah, they're so
The
cool.
slightest little wind, and they're always moving.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, oh yeah, I got that picture of the of my main guy, Cole. Kol is his name. He showed up in one of the photos that I took in the woods in the tree line, and my dogs in while I was taking the picture, the dogs were staring off into the distance, and I'm like, "What are you guys looking at?" And I, clicked a picture, and then a couple days later, I got this nudge to go back and look at that picture. And so I did. And in the tree line, exactly where the dogs are looking, there's a large kind of astral, but it's like kind of solid. Like you couldn't see the trees through it, but it was the silhouette of a big gorilla guy on his standing up. And yeah, once I finally saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. That is so cool. And I sent it to Aisha, and she was like, yep, that's them. And then the next day I looked at the picture again, and the photo, it changed. The image was gone. And I asked them, I was like, why did you guys do that? And I got the sense that they just wanted to show me what they could do. So
Yep.
yeah, it was pretty great though. But after that, I stopped kind of asking for pictures because I don't want to be needy. I don't want to grasp, you know. I don't want to ask them to just do tricks for me. So I just go out in the woods and spend time with them and talk to them and stuff.
I think we're approaching a time where some clans, some families will be willing to take pictures because
Mm,
they've been showing themselves more and more, and some are more blatant. It's not going to be a big deal, but some clans will actually want to be part of the movement of what is it, reconciliation or whatever it is, where we get our two nations back together, the
convergence.
human nation and the Sasquatch nation.
Yeah,
I think
I'm looking
that has
forward.
to happen for sure. One of my core understandings is that the Star Nations are watching the interaction between the Sasquatch and the humans because the Sasquatch represent non-human intelligence,
Mm.
right? And if we can't get along with non-human intelligence that is so close to us that we can interbreed, if we can't get along with them on our own planet, then we're really not ready for the foots on the ground from the
Mm.
star people. So it's really important what's going on. To me, it's really important what's going on now with the Sasquatch people and our collective, the what do you call it, the Sasquatch community. It's in their hands how soon the Star Nations actually will feel comfortable about showing up on the ground.
Yeah.
Well, they've worked together since the beginning. I mean,
Yeah.
they were already
The,
working
the
together,
Sasquatch, yeah, but I'm saying
and the
the
star people.
humans are the ones that are out of the
Oh
loop.
yeah. Oh yeah. That's and of course they're star people too. As if you want to go back that far. But their whole thing was to work together. The Bigfoot people being the boots on the ground contingency of this thing that's going to help humanity. So it is very important what's happening with humanity and, the Bigfoot people now. And it's changed tremendously just since I've been a part of this. People are opening up their
Big,
hearts
big change.
and, yeah, changing. Yeah, it was far and few between to find groups where you could talk about anything as far
There was
as a
actually
big.
gang stalking in groups
Yes,
where
yeah.
there would be like 4 or 5 cowboys would be out there making let's go make fun of the Sasquatch people, and
Well, there were
that was the thing.
cowgirls too in that group that did the same. I had a group that followed me around, and it was male and female, and if one
And
they
they were sure
monitor.
that you needed to be put in your place. I know. I kicked
Yeah,
guys like that out
so
of groups before. It was amazing.
yeah, it is just a part of the growth of humanity. And, I walked through that door. I didn't have to walk through the door to do what I've been doing. I said, yes, I will do that. It was my choice, to do that. And I was given a choice not to do it, but I said, nope, I know I'm supposed to do it, so I'm going to do it. And at that point, I didn't even know what door I was walking through. I just knew the door was there and I was supposed to walk through it.
Yeah.
But all of those things that people were reacting to was something within them. It had
Yep.
nothing to do with me
Absolutely.
or what I was presenting. And I knew that. And so and I could not be disrespectful to them. I mean, I'm out here talking about the Bigfoot people. And what if I'm being just as disrespectful as the people are being to me? What does that say to people? Oh, Arla's
Right.
talks a good talk, but she's not walking a good talk. And I couldn't do that. And so knowing that anything they said, to me wasn't really anything about me or what I believed or anything else. It was totally about who they were and what they believed. And I honestly believe that they were doing what they felt they were supposed to do.
Mm.
I believe that I've talked to many of them who have opened their heart and changed, and they'll tell you I was doing what I thought I was supposed to do. I was saving the world from delusion. I don't know how many times I heard that said. We're just saving the world from delusion. Okay. If I'm delusional,
Who
I'm
put
happy
them
in
in
my
charge of
delusion.
saving the world?
And
Yeah.
demonic. There was a lot of that going on. It was
Yeah.
they're demonic this, demonic that, and that
Yeah.
took a while for that to calm down.
Oh, yeah. I had one person who followed me around for a while, and if I posted in a group, they would come on and post just right after my post. Oh, she's a witch. She sends dogmen out to hurt people, and she does all this other stuff. And I'm like, I wouldn't do that if I could do it. Why in the world?
Well, why
But
are people so scared of dogmen? That's what I want to
I,
know.
well, they're masters at reaching that solar plexus, at that, fight or flight thing. And
Mm.
so they work deeply with that fear. And even more so, than Sasquatch, for sure, as far as
They can
fear.
project fear into you that grown men start to cry.
Yeah.
Mm.
But on the other hand, my experience with them has been just unbelievably heart touching. It's like the love that your dog has for you, a dog pet. Imagine that 10 times more.
Mm.
And just they can just pour out this love that's like that does kind of rival or equal the Sasquatch. Sasquatch, Sasquatch, in my opinion, are earth spirit or heart spirits. They are
Yep,
hearts.
they
Mm.
are. They are.
Everything up with them is about the heart. Their invisibility it comes from when they fill up their heart full of light, and then it goes out to their whole body, and then they turn invisible. That's high quality yogic stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah. Maybe the dogmen work with us to transmute our fear into empowerment.
But
They do.
some do. A
They
lot of them just want to be left
definitely,
alone.
yeah, that fear. And I've had a lot of personal one-on-one interaction with them as well. And the book Weirda is Little Dog Man Girl. And
Yeah, that's why I brought that up because that picture is so cute.
yep. And they're a part of my story. All
Mm.
my books are a part of my story, even my children's books. I use things out of my life to go with that book. But the dog man, Rouse, the one who is here part of the time, his energy is such that I don't feel fear, but you can feel overwhelmed.
Mm.
And he's very good. I remember sleeping in my tent when I was living in my tent one night, and he came up uh, close to the tent, and he made a very deep guttural sound, and my whole body energetically lit up. And I felt like I was just vibrating it. And I
Yeah.
just asked him, I said, Rouse, would you please either tone it down or back away a little bit until I get accustomed to this? Um, but yeah, they're gonna push your fear. And we have all the werewolf stories, the big bad
Yeah.
wolf, and all those things that have put fear into people um, for a very long time. So yeah, and that letting go of that fear, transmuting it, is a big key for a lot of things.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. Well, maybe because I have heard that that a lot of them, most of them just want to be left alone, like what Michael was saying. But maybe some of us are connected to them somehow, like you, like how you're connected to them. And so you
Yeah,
can work
Well,
with them. I
energy,
know.
I think
What's that?
energetically, like there's these waves of things that are happening, right? You have the near
Mm.
death experience thing that's been going on, and it was actually, and then you have the 1947 the ET thing, right? So there's the wave of the ET thing. Behind the wave of the ET thing was the near death experience. Well, that was going on for 30, 40 years, and all those people wrote their books, and now they're on the podcast. And then there's then behind the ET and the near-death experience people, which is the angelic. So you have the star people, the angelic people, then you have the Sasquatch people coming in as a wave, right? And it starts off the same way. Oh, they're monsters that are going to eat you, and then eventually everybody wants to be buddies. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to be
Hmm.
buddies now. But then I think
Yeah.
there's going to be another wave where the dog man is going to come to front. But right now, there's too much going on. The ET people have a lot of work to do, and they're doing stuff like this, showing themselves. And then the Sasquatches have actually said that they want to be seen more and they want to be more interactive. So there are these waves of disclosure that's coming from the people, from the beings themselves. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think there's going to
Wow.
be a wave of them, and because already there's little hints of people who are working with the elves and with the
Yeah.
with the gnomes and those kind of guys and the brownies and all those. That's all coming along too. So I think everything's in its right order. I think the way it is. I want to tell you one story
Definitely.
about the Sasquatch people I used to when I used to go to sleep. I haven't done this for a long time, but I used to go to sleep. I would call for this Sasquatch mother, and then I would just curl up in
Mhm.
her lap and go to sleep every night. Yeah,
Aw,
it was a great feeling.
that's awesome.
Anyway, when I was doing that, then this at one point this dog man came to me. And he would just come close, but I'm sitting here in the lap of this Sasquatch grandmother or mother, and so I was like happy chappy. So I would just say I love you to the dog man when he showed up. And he showed up every day for about a week, or every other day or so for about a week. And then the last time I saw him, he brought his spouse and his two pups.
Oh.
Now listen, this is the most amazing thing. When the pups, when he was bringing me as a safe human. Oh, he was bringing me as
Mhm.
a safe human, and there's this great interest in a human who was friends with the Sasquatch people. So he let his puppies come close. And when the puppies came, now dogmen have hands. Dogmen have hands. They have doggy kind of feet, but they have hands.
Mhm.
And you imagine puppies, energetic, happy, excited puppies with hands. These guys were pulling on my hair, pulling on my beard, and it was just like all over me. And it was hilarious. But it was like so much love and there's so much intimacy and so much contact. Unbelievable. So
No.
we're in for a treat when it's time for the dog
Yeah.
to kind
Yeah.
of set the stage.
Yeah.
And there lots and lots of people now are working with a dog man. And, for a long time, people said, oh, no, the Sasquatch don't like the dog man, and the dog men don't like, and they can't go in each other's territory and all this other stuff. All the places that I've been across the United States, it has not been like that at all. And
Mm.
what we go back to is our own reality. What we believe about something creates our experiences and our reality. And so, as more people are talking about the dogman in a positive way, then, you know, the realities are going to change. And the more people's reality changes, it affects the totality of humanity. So that's very much. I heard or was reading something about fairies the other day, and this one person, you don't mess with fairies. They'll run your life. And and someone questioned them about, why do you believe that? Well, I was
Hmm.
told that. And so immediately you've got someone that's created their own reality around something that they were told, not something that they experienced.
Right.
But even at that, if you believe that that's what they are, then that's going to be your experience because it's what you believe about them. So that goes back to shift your paradigm, open your mind, open your heart, and let go of some things.
Yeah. Well, that's what life is about, I think. I think that's what the journey is. It's about realizing how the universe really operates and then just dumping all the baggage, all the stories,
Mhm.
and getting closer to remembering who we really are. So, you know what, guys? I have to get ready for work.
Oh yeah. Well, it's been almost exactly 2 hours. It's been maybe even a
Oh,
little bit.
wow.
Is there
That
anything
went
else
by
on the table that
fast.
you would like to
Yeah.
say? Because I feel like we hogged all the podcast, and we were
Not at
podcasting.
all. I told a whole bunch of stories. I mean, if anybody finds our conversation interesting, if you'd like to come check out my channel on YouTube, that would be cool if you want to listen to some more stories. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's about it.
AetherFlow podcast.
Yeah, if anybody has any great
AetherFlow
stories
podcast.
they'd love to tell too, like you can get a hold of me and we could have a chat. I love having a good chat.
Arla, you got any last words to say? I'm afraid to ask you. She'll go on.
I could talk forever. I've lived a long time and stuff happens. That's all I got to say. It's constant.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed you coming on, Gina. Thank you so much. You
Yeah, it was
brought,
super fun.
not only did you share stories, but you brought other memories and thoughts to Michael and I to share.
Aw.
And that's what we hope this podcast is for everyone to come and share when something's triggered, to share that they feel that, they can share anything and they're safe with us.
Yeah. Well, that's one of my projects, I guess you'd say, is to be as authentic as possible. And so that means if something comes up that's triggering, then it's for a reason, you know. So just speak from the heart and I think it'll be all good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gina. I feel grateful and blessed to have, just to have know you because you're really a really bright light of Mother Earth's
Oh.
children. So
Aw.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I
That's
think it's all
awesome.
about Mother Earth, really.
Yeah.
You asked me the other day, yeah, what do you think the whole purpose is? And I don't think we have so much of a purpose for ourselves, but we do have a purpose for Mother Earth. We're here to
Hmm.
help her and be with her. And, I remember the first time I saw her, it was like it was like a big deal. It was a big deal in the universe to have an Earth like this. This is a big deal
Yeah.
for us to be on it. So you're one of the best, you're one of the good ones.
Thank you. And I would love to have you on my show as well if you ever want to come on, have a chat.
Sure, that'd be fun.
Arla, you're
That'd
always
be
invited.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be
Awesome.
awesome to have Michael. He's got a lot of stuff. He gets
Ooh, we
into
could talk
this,
about healing stuff.
he gets into this
Yeah.
listening mode. And it's
Mm.
like he wants to get everything he can get. And then he takes it and balls it around. So it's
Yeah.
really cool.
I have a funny way of thinking. Yeah. All
All
right.
right.
I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody. Goodbye,
Bye.
Goodbye.
all humans,
Bye.
all the people who are pretending to be humans.